Hello everybody, Maven here, and NVIDIA broadcast has failed on me today, and I was too lazy to restart my PC, so my camera might look quite a bit different than it normally does. You can actually finally see my background, my Pokemon plush collection for once. But I'll have it fixed by the next video. But anyways, besides the point, for today's video, this is a highly requested one. A lot of you guys let me know in the comments that you wanted to see this. You guys asked for it, so you guys got it. And that's a great thing, guys. Keep dropping those comments, leaving interactions. Let me know what you want to see. It really helps out a ton. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, I did a Slayer's Fang Titan build with the no backup plans on Tuesday. And then I did a Slayer's Fang Hunter build with the Gyrfalcon's Hauberk on Thursday. And a lot of you guys wanted a Warlock version, so here we are. And shameless plug, but if you're new here and you play Hunter or Titan, I'll link those other build videos down below in the description and the pinned comment and the card. It'll be everywhere, can't miss it. But for Warlock today, what exotic are we going to combo with our Slayer's Fang? Well, that's going to be the Contraverse Hold. And I know a lot of you may be confused as to why, but it'll all make sense once I break it down. So let's get to it. Hope you enjoy. This video is sponsored by Advanced GG, the only clinically proven gaming supplement shown to improve your gaming performance. Use code MAVEN at checkout for 10% off your order, link down below. Thank you. So in order to explain our Warlock build today, I first need to recap what we learned in our Hunter video. So I apologize for sounding like a broken record for those who have already seen that video, but I promise you that information is relevant to the concept of this build as well, so I'll try to keep it quick. So for the third time reading this, the Slayer's Fang has Night's Worn Sight, so getting a final blow will give you a buff for 7 seconds. During this buff, your shots will weaken targets for a 15% debuff, reload speed and precision damage are increased, and you will have wall hacks. Additionally, with the perk Heart Piercer, this weapon has intrinsic overload, but most importantly, this weapon's shots will split apart into sub-munitions. These sub-munitions are the sole reason that this shotgun is any good. Why, might you ask? As you can see here against Carl, when we stand super far away from him, the Slayer's Fang is doing 4010 times 7, and when we run up to his face and shoot him, once again, we're doing 4010 times 7. These are our sub-munitions, and they have no range fall off. No matter how far away you are from your target, they will always do the same amount of damage. So with this shotty, you don't really need to be in optimal range, so as long as you're in hit scan range, that's all you really need. And I showed this example in my Hunter video, but we're shooting Carl with the rapid fire frame fusion, doing just over 2k per bolt. But then we swap over to our shotgun, and we're doing 4010 per quote-unquote bolt. So it's quite literally just a shotgun that outranges fusion rifles, and that's the reason why the Slayer's Fang is so viable in my opinion. Obviously, you're going to do more damage when you're in your actual shotgun range because the slug shot itself will connect and do very good crit damage, especially with Night's Worn Sight active. But that demonstration was just to show that you can still output very solid damage from 20 plus meters away with a shotgun, which is something that has never been possible before in Destiny 2. Now, one more thing before moving on to the Warlock, I swear, just bear with me, we're almost there. So the idea of the Hunter build was to play into this range fantasy with the shotty by getting volatile rounds with the Gyrfalcon's Hauberk, because not only are we doing full sub-munition damage from long range, but we're also making enemies volatile and causing volatile explosions, not to mention the weakening during Night's Worn Sight procs on hit too, regardless of range. And the sub-munitions also ricochet and spread, weaken, and volatile around to nearby targets. So this shotgun, especially with volatile rounds, can cause a lot of chaos from a very far range. So that is the main idea of what you want to do with this shotty explained. It's done. Now let's finally talk about some Warlock stuff. Mainly, why is our exotic of choice the Contraverse Hold? Well, we don't have the Gyrfalcons, but we do really want volatile rounds to really pop up with the shotgun from range. So our only way to obtain volatile rounds is through the Echo of Instability fragment that says that grenade final blows give you volatile rounds. And the Contraverse Hold just so happens to be a grenade spam exotic. It says that you gain a 20% resist while charging a nade with the Chaos Accelerant aspect, and hits with charged nades will refund some grenade energy, and it returns a lot of grenade energy, like literally half if you take a look at the background gameplay. And you might have noticed that we're not using the typical vortex grenades that you would normally see people use the Contraverse Hold, although you can if you want. Instead, we're using the handheld Supernova, aka when you charge a magnetic grenade, you'll unleash that short-range Void Blast. Now, why are we using this? Well, think about it. If our main goal is to proc Echo of Instability and get a grenade final blow to proc volatile rounds as frequently as possible, then the easiest way to do that is with handheld Supernova. With the Vortex grenade, it's good, but it's slower. It's a damage over time grenade. It takes some time for it to pick up the kill, and enemies can sometimes walk out of its radius. With handheld Supernova, you get your damage up front and fast, and it's a good amount of damage. As you can see here against Carl, it hits him for 15k times 5, equating to 75,270, plus it makes him volatile. And comparing that to a rocket launcher, the Apex Predator, it hits him for 98k, just slightly above. So handheld Supernova is just below rocket, but seeing as how it's an extremely spammable ability, as you can tell in the background gameplay, and the fact that you get all that chunky damage straight up front on a target's face makes it so good for proccing Echo of Instability to give us volatile rounds. And this is how we can keep our Slayer's Fang feeling very rangy and strong. Just make sure to spam your handheld Supernova whenever you get the chance to, because that technically preserves shoddy ammo, and also make sure to attempt to use it only on targets that would die to it, and try avoiding using it against fatter targets because that kind of defeats its purpose. Now let's talk about how we're able to spam so many handheld Supernovas. So first of all, obviously our Contraverse Hold. So hitting a target with our handheld Supernova will give us 20 times grenade regen for 1.75 seconds, and that literally gives us just over half of our nade charge back right out the gates. Next, we got Absolution on our boots to refund some ability energy when we pick up orbs. Then we got Impact Induction on our gloves to get grenade energy back when we hit a target with a powered melee. And then we got Echo of Exchange to grant grenade energy when we get melee final blows. And finally, the Feed the Void aspects of getting an ability final blow gives us Super Devour, not just regular Devour, Super Devour. So we get increased grenade regen and health regen on final blows as opposed to normal Devour. So I'm going to show you a quick clip of all of these last 5 things I talked about in rapid succession. So I get a handheld Supernova final blow, which procs Contraverse, Firepower, and Devour. I pick up the orb for Absolution, then I get a melee final blow to trigger Devour, Exchange, and Impact Induction. And just like that, my entire grenade charge is back. Then we just run around getting shoddy final blows because Devour will be giving us huge chunks of grenade energy back. It literally takes just like 1 or 2 shoddy kills to top off our nade each time, and that's how we can spam so much. So as for the shotgun portion of our build, I crafted my Slayer's Fang with Repulsor Brace, which gives us overshields for defeating void debuff targets. And that's going to be real easy to proc, seeing as how the shotgun itself weakens targets and will almost always have volatile rounds. So this just greatly helps our survivability on top of already having Devour. And to ensure we never run out of special ammo, we're running the same infinite special ammo setup we used on the Hunter and Titan versions of the build, as well as dozens of other builds I showcased on this channel. So it's nothing new. It's basically just charged up on the chest to be able to hold up to 4 stacks of armor charge, and stacks on stacks on the boots to double the rate at which you obtain armor charge, and then special ammo finisher on the class item. So when you perform a finisher, you generate a brick of special ammo for you and your fire team. With the combination of these 3 mods, as long as you have a consistent source of armor charge, it's pretty free to be able to spam special finishers as frequently as you want. And speaking of our sources of armor charge, we got Reaper on the class item, Void Siphon on our helmet, as well as Firepower on our gloves, which does work with handheld Supernova, by the way. And we got the Thick of It artifact mod, which gives us armor charge for getting multi-kills while surrounded. Then we got the brand new artifact mod called Finders Keepers that can give us armor charge for picking up ammo. And this combos extremely well with special finisher itself, because think about it, we have 4 armor charge, you perform a special finisher which consumes 3 armor charge, putting it back down to 1. We instantly collect that ammo, which procs Finders Keepers to give us 2 armor charge back. We go back up to 3 armor charge and can immediately perform a special finisher again, back to back. And it's moments like this that are the reason that we have charged up on our chest, and you'll see this come into play a lot in the background gameplay. It happens pretty much every time that we perform a finisher. Just pay attention to my armor charge. It always immediately just jumps back up to special finisher range. And our final method of armor charge, and our best method, is Echo of Harvest, that gives us both an Orb of Power and a Void Breach for defeating a weakened target. And remember, for the 3rd and final time, Slayer's Fang weakens on hit, so that's literally perfect. It's meant to be. And the Void Breach is great too because it procs our other brand new artifact mod called Old Gods Right, which summons this void portal in the sky that sprays out these projectiles when you deal damage with a void source after picking up a Void Breach. Also, that Void Breach procs Served Cold, so it will grant some melee energy in addition to class ability energy on pickup. So Echo of Harvest just does it all for us. It's huge. Now, breaking down the loose ends we missed, starting with the mods going from head to toe. On our helmet, we got double special finders for consistency. On our gloves, we got Void Loader just to help with the feel. On the chest, we got Void Reserves and a resist of your choice, depending on the threat modifier. And on our boots, we got a Void Scavenger, again, just for consistency. And on the class item, we got Bomber for some more nade energy. And our final fragment, not yet mentioned, is Echo of Obscurity to go invis when we perform special finishers. It really helps out a ton. Now, one last thing about our fragments I will say is that Echo of Exchange should 100% be replaced with Echo of Remnants, along with swapping your Magnetic Grenade out for the classic Vortex Nade to pair with Contraverse when you are doing more difficult content. Handheld Supernova with Echo of Exchange will only be good for content on the easier side, whereas Remnants and Vortex will be better on the tougher side. So just keep that in mind. A majority of the time, Vortex will be the way to go. But I'm maining Handheld Supernova in the gameplay just to show off the main concept of the build and what we're trying to achieve by using this exotic. Now, for our stats, I just invested triple hundreds in resilience, recovery, and discipline, and dumped the rest into strength. That's what I'd recommend, but definitely prioritize resilience and discipline if you can't hit triple hundreds. And for our loadout, this is precisely what I'd recommend because it covers all three champions. Slayer's Fang has intrinsic overload, then we got a pulse rifle for unstop, and then we got another void weapon in edge transit to give intrinsic anti-barrier to when volatile rounds are active. And it also takes advantage of our void-based armor mods. And that about does it for the build. Is this a good build? Well, it does the job. That's all I'll say. If you wanted to use the Slayer's Fang and you're a stubborn Warlock main and you do not want to play Hunter or Titan, then this is going to be the go-to way to use this weapon. In my opinion, this weapon is a lot better on Hunter and Titan, but several of you guys asked for a Warlock version, so I delivered. It may not be the craziest build in the world, but I did what I could for you guys, so I hope you enjoyed it regardless. Unlike the others, I'd say this build definitely suffers as the content gets more difficult, but it's an absolute powerhouse in more chill content because it's easier to spam back-to-back infinite handheld supernovas and have infinite volatile rounds, as you might have seen in the gameplay. So if you are a solo player and you tend to play more chill content, then this build is going to be great for you. So definitely use this build sparingly, again, if you are adamant on playing Warlock and do not want to play another class. So as always, a dim loadout link for this build will be down below in the description and also the pinned comment if you'd like to give it a try. And if you got any buddies who are Warlock mains who really want to give the Slayer's Fang a try, then I'd appreciate if you share the video with them because maybe this is something that would help them out. And if it has helped you out, then maybe you can help me out by simply hitting the like button. It really helps out a ton. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Would love to have you here for more Act 3 content on the way. And remember to check out our sponsor, Advanced GG, code Maven at checkout for 10% off, link down below. And with that, I will catch you in the next video. See you later.